Hi, my name is Yevgeny, and I'm a designer by day and developer by night. And today I would like to introduce to you my new plugin called Typography System Master. As you can guess from its name, its purpose is to help you manage and create your typography systems in Figma with ease. Before I get started, I want to shout out and thank greatly to TD Sunshine and her really insightful videos in regards of typography systems in Figma and typography variables, and especially why they are useful. I will happily leave the links in the description here, and once again thank you very much TD Sunshine for this inspiration, because your videos have basically inspired me to code this plugin to manage our typography systems easier in Figma. Just to summarize really quickly why these new typography variables are a game changer if it is about typography systems. So, for example, I have a document here and I have my text styles set up, right? And with text styles we are familiar. But now what Figma has introduced a year ago are typography variables, which are giving us way more control over our styles in bulk. For example, we can go into our variables, and if we are about to rebrand our page, all we need to do for all those styles using the same font family is to simply grab that one variable and change the font family within that, and voila, your whole document, all the styles which were referring to that one variable have changed. The same counts also for other variables which you might reuse across different styles, like for example the font sizes for different font families. As you can see, we are able to adjust everything across different text styles by using our variables. And this is the foundation of typography systems as for now in Figma. And yeah, now why have I developed this plugin? Let us look into it. See, when I start working on a new document, the first thing I always set up is my typography system. For example, here I am just starting to work on a document and I have just defined my typography as I would like it to be. Now, since I do not have any variables and styles, I would have to create them. And creating text styles is pretty straightforward because we can simply go into a variation of our text nodes and create a text style from there. Yet it will not have any variables bound because we did not yet create any. So that would be my next step, to actually go in and create my variables. So let us, for example, create a font family variable and give it exactly the value we want. And of course, not to forget to set the correct scope, so this variable only appears when we are looking for a font family. Now what we can do is we can go into our style, and then we have to click through these menus in order to get to our variable, and now this is bound. And the same will count for all the other values which we can get into variables. We would also need to create text styles for each of our variations. For example, here we would have our H2, which we can create as a style. And then in our H2, we will also need to set the correct variable for the font family, since it is the same as our other style. And this we will need to do for each and every of our font variations. And of course, not to forget that there are more variables than just the font family. We also want the font weight to be a variable, the font size. There is also the option to have the paragraph spacing and the paragraph indent as a variable. And as you can imagine, this will take a couple of clicks for us to accomplish manually. And this is exactly where Typography System Master comes into play. So let us now get into a clean state of our document where we do not have variables nor styles set up, and run Typography Master to help us with this. What it will do upon launch, it will analyze your document and find all the text style variations or typography variations in your document. Next, let us just try it out in this very simplistic scenario and hit create upon this detection. As you can see, now we have got our text style set up for us. We can see that our text styles are also directly applied to our text nodes across the document. And I find the most useful thing is that our variables are also created automatically based on the text styles we create and bound correctly. As you can see, we have a variable for paragraph spacing we are using, and we have the same for the paragraph indent here as well. And if we check on our variables, then a collection named Typography has been created for us. And since we have used two font families across our document, we can see that here we have our DM serif text And here we have our Maven Pro. And of course, if we are now to go into our variables, then we can benefit from our system already, since we have full control over all of our styles which depend on this variable. So this would be the easiest use case for Typography System Master when you are starting off with a new and fresh document. You can save all the clicks through the scopes of your variables because the plugin will do it for you. And you can also skip all the bindings of styles to variables as well, because this is also done by Typography System Master. And now let us take a look at a more complex file with a few more text nodes, which are currently just hard-coded, right? Because this document here does not yet have any variables and styles, and it does have quite a few of the text nodes. So if we run our Typography System Master now, it will do a similar job as before, but as you can see, we have found quite a few text nodes. In order to navigate through such a big document, we have a little helper icon here to navigate through the different nodes and to show us where they do appear. For example, if you're wondering where can we find our headlines of the sizes, then this little element will help us jump between them just to check on them. In addition, if you see that you have too many text styles which are similar, for example, we have here 24 pixels and 24.6, then what we can do is we can go into our, we can go into the editing mode. And what we can do, we can simply replace one style with another by, for example, dragging it on top of another, and maybe let us hide the replaced styles. We can also, instead of just dragging and dropping, select the style we want to display this one with. So for example, let us take this style name here and select this as a replacement. We can of course also rename our styles, because as you can see, the styles are currently just generated by the plugin, but of course you are free to customize that. So once you are done with your style merging and replacement, then you can hit save and apply the system to your document. And as you can imagine, the result will be created as text styles with the appropriate names and the appropriate variable bindings calculated from them. So just to check on things, we can go into any of our text nodes and see that yes, they have got their text styles applied. And if we go into our variable collection, we can also see that we have created indeed 3 groups for different font families. And yeah, from here you have seen it at the beginning of the video that we now have full control over the document. Now let us take a look at a slightly more complex example. Here I have a document which has already quite a few text styles set up, and it has text nodes which are using text styles from an external library. In this case it would be MUI for Figma. If we run Typography Master now, it will recognize that we do have local styles, and we have some unused local styles which we can keep or remove. And we also have external styles which have been found, and they are displayed right here. So our node jumping element here helps us find our external styles throughout the document. And yeah, as you can see, the option to remove unused styles, if we hit that, as you can imagine, it simply removes all the styles which have no uses. So all the local styles in this document currently have 0 usage, so we can just remove them. Then we have the external styles, right, which are currently set up in another library where we do not have access to them. We cannot rename them. All we can do is we can replace them amongst each other, which is kind of nice, but not what we need right now. We have 2 possibilities with external styles. One of them is, or 3 possibilities. One of them is simply keep them external as they are with their current nodes. The other one would be to merge them into local styles. This would mean that those external styles become local styles, and variables will be created and bound for them and of course applied to the nodes. The other possibility, merge local styles into these, is if you have text nodes whose properties fit an external style, then Typography System Master will simply make those text nodes use the external style they correspond to. But in this example, we do not have such a situation, so let us try merging them into local. So now we are set up, and we say, yes, we want to have external styles in this document. we want to remove unused styles. If we now hit create, then as we can see, we have only the text styles which are actually in use available. If we check on those, they have the correct variable bindings set up from our typography collection, which has been set up for us. And of course, we can also check on our variables and see that indeed, for this new local styles, the variables have been set. And here we can test it by simply changing the font family variable, and we see that it has been applied to all of our text nodes, which are now using internal local text styles. Lastly, let us see how Typography System Master performs with truly huge documents. As an example, we will take the Ant Design library here, the community open source version of it. And as we can see, they do have text styles set up already, so we do have our headlines here, which is kind of fine, it is very good. But we also find some text nodes which are not using any text styles, they are just hard-coded. In addition, if we check on these text styles, they do not use variables right now, they are set up, but without any variable usages. And we can also see that our variables collection here is empty. Yet this is the way it went for years, so not all the libraries which are big out there are updated because the process is very, very tedious, right? So what we can do now is we can run our Typography System Master and check how well it performs with such huge documents. Okay, cool. Now where we have our document scanned and analyzed, we can see that there are a bunch of font families and styles found. It might take a little bit to organize it, sure. For example, we see we have so many different variations of the 14 pixel regular. What's the difference between them? Oh, it's the line height. So now we are able to check on all the different things and see whether we really want to keep them. For example, these two could be merged. And this is exactly where our editing mode comes into play and helps us greatly. But in order to save some time on this already lengthy tutorial, trust me that you can replace and rename the styles here. There are some external styles in this document, but that is fine, we will keep it like this. Let us simply test how well the plugin will perform on this huge thing. Let us hit create and see our text styles actually applied. Fantastic! Now let's take a look what it has done. So, we do have our text styles which have been there preserved. This is very good. If we check on them, they have variables. This is also very good. We also see that a bunch of new styles for the different variations have been created, as we didn't take care to merge them, replace them, and so on, right? But let us now take a look at the variables. Whoops. Oi. And yes, Typography System collection has been created. And wow, we have a bunch of font families, but they are created and bound correctly and, of course, properly scoped. Fantastic. And now if we take a look at our single nodes, let us take this for example. Yes, it now does use our style, and this uses a style now, and this of course as well. Not a single node skipped. So this is what Typography System Master can do for you. It can help you with your smaller documents to get started, it can help you with your existing documents to proceed, and it can also help you fix your larger old documents which do not yet use variables, for example. And the size does not really matter. What happens is you just have to wait a little longer the larger your document is. But with that being said, thank you once again greatly, TD Sunshine, and thank you, of course, my dear viewer, for seeing through this tutorial with me. And I hope my plugin can save you as much time as it saves for me and my colleagues. That being said, I wish you a wonderful day and see you next time. Bye bye!